Hello, everyone, and welcome to Midweek Momentum New Year's Eve edition. Happy almost 2026. And as we ring out 2025, I am coming with a little piece of a conversation from one of my favorite episodes of 2025, and that is with Mike Kim, who is here to break down the difference between being authentic and transparent online and introducing a pretty brilliant idea of treating your messaging like a campfire, something warm, inclusive, and that everyone wants to gather around. Enjoy and Happy New Year. But I'm curious from your perspective, how do we build a personal brand that feels authentic and not just buzzy in the sea of buzzy personal brands?
Yeah, I think it's best illustrated probably by just this illustration I've used over the years. Like when I hear people talk about personal brand, they do it one of two ways, and neither are really good. Okay, so these are two extremes. On one hand, you have people who literally will rent out a mansion on Airbnb and a bunch of supercars and will shoot videos and will imply that it's their house. Okay, they
Not
do this.
authentic people, not
No.
authentic.
And they think they are owed attention, and this is all it takes. Okay. Then you swing to the other side, which I saw come to pass a couple years ago, where authenticity was the buzzword, but they were grabbing, like they were like, authenticity means that I share all the dirt and all the gnarly stuff, and they're just becoming gossipers, right? It's sort of like they're getting attention the way
Yeah.
a car wreck on the highway gets attention, traffic slows to a crawl, and everyone's looking, but it's the wrong kind of attention, right? And instead of selling a solution, they're selling struggles.
Yeah.
That's how they're getting attention. I
It
think,
vulnerability turns into overshare in that
yeah,
situation.
yeah. And I think there's a line between being authentic and being transparent.
Totally.
Transparent is reserved for a few people in your life.
Yeah.
You can still say, I mean, I did this when I went, like, I mean, my audience knew 10 years ago that I was going through a divorce. Like they could tell. Like they're not stupid. They're like, "Huh, I'm seeing like his wife's not in his pictures.
Right.
I'm seeing that she literally changed her status on Facebook. Like, that's interesting." And I was authentic about, hey, I'm going through a lot of stuff right now, but I'm going to keep showing up here and I'm going to add value business wise, but I'm going through a lot of personal things. So I might slow down. Transparent is like, this is what happened, XYZ, ABC, 1, 2, 3. No, no one needs to hear that. Right. And so I think there's a fine line. And so where I sit is really just ask yourself, when you're showing up online, can you build a campfire around what you're sharing? And by that, I mean, is it a light in a dark place? Is it a place where
Ooh.
it's inclusive and welcoming and warm? Can other people have a voice too, not just yourself? I mean, you sit around a campfire, it's not just a monologue or a speech. People talk.
Sometimes
And
kumbaya happens, everyone.
yeah,
Sometimes.
happens once in a while. And I've been surprised at how people have resonated with that illustration. So whether it's LinkedIn, you're feeling very, very, Monday and professionally, or it's on Instagram, you're sharing a personal update, or whatever it is, you just ask yourself, is what I'm sharing like actually something that people can rally around? Or am I just talking at people? Am I marketing myself at people? Um, One other example I'll share real quick, and it comes to mind because I did it a second time. When my first book came out, I turned on my camera and turned on the video, and I recorded giving it to my mom, and she hates being on video. But I'm like, whatever, I'm your kid. It's easier for me to ask for forgiveness than permission. And I showed her the book, and she was like, "Oh wow, this is great. You're so bad in school, and you had other talents." And she's like laughing, and that's what I'm talking about. That's like a campfire moment. Like, I'm sure people bought books because of that video posting it,
Yes.
but it wasn't blatant. It was just like, hey, who can't identify with a parent being proud of their child, especially if the parent was worried their child wouldn't go anywhere, right? And then I did it again. I
You
haven't
just didn't
published the
know you were
video
gonna
yet.
get a little clip to exploit, but
Yeah,
it was
I'm
authentic.
exploiting my mom. Yeah. And then I did it just a few weeks ago when I went to go see her for her birthday with the book that I just came out with, my friend Andy Storch. And it's like, Mom, here's round two. Here's the book. She's like, oh wow, and like that's what I'm talking. That's where we're going, because there's a lot loaded into that video. There's a lot of psychology. There's a lot that I probably don't have time to like unpack, but people are making a lot of really fast, quick
Mhm.
judgments about who I am. They're like, this guy likes his mom. His mom likes him. That may say something about his character. She's very like humorous. That says probably something about him. He's self-deprecating. He's willing to post this. Like he's like there's
Mhm.
meaning a lot of judgments in that 30-second video, right? And they're like, "Oh,
Psychology is amazing.
he didn't do well in college. There might be hope for me."
Yeah.
So all of these things outside of, "Oh, this here's a book to grow your business." Du-du-du-du-du-du-du, right? There's a lot of humanity in there and there's meaning there. That was a meaningful moment for her and for me and in turn for the audience. And that's sort of where I'm heading with all that.
Yeah, economy of meaning.
Yeah.
So let's give some people some advice. I like this idea of, and I agree with you that there is a fine line between appropriate vulnerability and overshare, right? Tactful
Mhm.
transparency and just ridiculous going too far. How does somebody out there find that balance between maybe the overly brand safe, stale, not personalized, personal brand enough, and the take it too far, overly transparent? How do we find the fine line?
I think it depends on where they are and how comfortable they are with expressing themselves. So, if you're coming out of that regulatory background that we just talked about a few minutes ago, start
Could
with
take a little while.
just share what books you're learning from. That's like so safe. Like, hey, here's a book called The Psychology of Money by Morgan House. Great book, by the way. And it's
Great.
like, here are three things that I learned. You have nothing to lose. There's no risk. You're not sharing your own personal stories. You're not being super vulnerable. You're actually signaling, I'm a learner. I like to read. And money is one of these things that I'm openly sharing about without giving away your numbers, right? That's a great start. Or, hey, here's this one clip that I saw on whatever, Tony Robbins video, whoever you like, and say, like, this is why I took away from that. So you use other people's
Mhm.
content to signal what you're interested in. There's a lot of psychology there.
Yep.
As you gradually move up and feel more comfortable, you can share something that you've learned or a piece of advice maybe you've shared to other people. And one of the questions I ask a lot on interviews is, hey, what's one piece of wisdom that's been really valuable that someone's shared with you? And then I'll in turn ask them, what's one piece of wisdom you give to a lot of other people? And it's such a like interesting question because people don't really think about that. Or what's one of the best pieces of advice you ever got? And you can just share that with your followers on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook. It's just baby steps. And the more you do that, you get a quicker feedback loop and you realize the end of the world did not happen by me posting this online. You get way more comfortable and you start getting more comfortable with your voice. And then you can, start to write longer things or shoot videos yourself. It's a progression, just like everything else in life. It's a
Yes.
progression.